Hey, this is Mark Williams from Swine Life Barbecue. Today I'm going to show you how we do date night at Swine Life headquarters. I have two bone-in ribeyes that are just flat out beautiful. If you remember a few weeks back, we done a standing rib roast on the Outlaw Smoker. These are actually the two end cuts from that rib roast. I vacuum sealed them, put them in the freezer. They kept great. We're going to do a trim on them. We're going to season them with a little bit of grit and of course the grunt rub. If you have not tried this, this is one of my favorite rubs on beef. So tonight we're going to do a reverse sear. So I'm going to set it up on the Grilla Grills Chimp tonight. Lay them both there. We're going to run the pit at about 250 to let them come up real slow. Once they get done and reach about that 120 temperature, I got a Weber kettle sitting beside it. We're going to get it screaming hot and get an awesome sear on these steaks. We're going to show y'all a few sides that go great with these ribeyes. It's going to be a good date night for us. Y'all stick around. Let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is get these ribeyes trimmed. They don't need much, but I am going to take this back side of this fat cap off right there. All we're going to do is come in here and you'll see it's kind of a line you can follow. Just take the majority of that fat off. We're not going to, like I say, we're not going to do a whole lot. I'm not going to worry about cleaning the bone up. It looks pretty good. We'll do the same thing to this one. This one, because it comes from the other end of the ribeye, it's got a lot thicker fat cap. So you're actually going to have to take a little bit more off this. You just want to expose this meat underneath this fat. That way the rub has something to stick to and it just adds a little bit more flavor. So we got these trimmed. We're going to get a good layer of seasoning on these. This is a big old hunk of meat. I think these come in at about 3.5 pounds a piece. So I'm going to start off with Mississippi grit. You can start off with any AP, just salt, pepper, garlic. Like I say, we're going to do a pretty heavy coat. Get it patted in. Do the same to the opposite side. This baby here is already tender. She's gonna be good. And of course, with this big a steak, you always want to get the edges. Now we're gonna come back with the grunt rub. This is a little bit coarser of a rub, so it's gonna add a really good texture to the outside of these. And you're gonna have to pat this in because it's gonna want to fall off. Do the same thing to the other side. Has a lot of coarse pepper, a lot of coarse onion, garlic, all the great flavors that complement beef so well. Same thing, we'll get the edges. We got these steaks seasoned. We're gonna let them sit on this cutting board for about an hour. That'll give us time to go ahead and get this pellet grill fired up, get everything up to temp, and then we'll get them put on. I'm expecting it to be about an hour cook at 250 before we reach that 120. During that process, we'll get the Weber kettle fired up. We'll get it screaming hot, that way we get a good crust on the outside of these. We'll do a couple sides and we'll be ready to have a date night. So we're out here at the Grilla Grills Chimp. I got it set at 250, come right up to temp. We'll get these babies put on. So what I'm gonna do is just lay them each in there. And then I'm gonna come in with the probe just because I don't want to overcook these. So you can see on either one of these, you just want to be dead center of that loin. That's your loin on this one. So I'm gonna take this probe and go right in. And we're gonna set it up just like that. We'll get the lid closed. We got these ribeyes on. We're gonna keep a close eye on them with this Thermalwork dots. We want to carry them about 120. Definitely don't want to overcook them. You can always get your finished temp when you do your sear process on a Weber. We'll check on these ribeyes in about 30 minutes. With any good date night, you gotta have some good sides. Tonight we're gonna do some mashed potatoes. Of course, my brother-in-law Mikey's done hooked us up with some great sauteed mushrooms. These are all good sides that'll go good with any kind of date night, especially with a good old ribeye. You can't beat this. It's been about 30 minutes. The ribeyes are sitting at about 75 degrees. We're gonna go ahead and get this Weber kettle fired up. That way it gives it plenty of time to get these coals rolling. I got a chimney full of royal oak charcoal. We're gonna place a little tumbleweed down there, get it lit. We got the slow and sear. What I'm gonna do is let these coals come up to temp. Once they get ready, we'll pour them over here and that'll give us a good ultra hot zone to be able to sear these steaks. So you can't have a ribeye without having a really good butter. We're gonna add a little bit of olive oil to this cast iron skillet. Handful of cloves of garlic. This butter's gonna be used for the mashed potatoes as well as the ribeyes. We'll let these cloves of garlic get a good coat in the oil. Kind of let them simmer and brown a little bit before we add to the butter. As you can see, this garlic is done browned up. We're gonna go ahead and add these few sticks of butter. Again, some of this butter is gonna be used for the potatoes. The rest of it's gonna be used for the steaks. While that's simmering, we're gonna go ahead and add a good bit of pepper. Give it a little stir. That garlic smells awesome. What we'll do now is we'll just turn this heat down and just let this butter simmer. It'll infuse a good bit of that garlic flavor. It'll go great with potatoes, but really complement these ribeyes. So it's been about a total hour. We got the coals ready. We're gonna get these dumped in the slow and sear. And you can tell this lump coal is screaming hot. Get this spread around pretty good. And we're gonna get this grate put on here. I can hear the beeper going off. Let's get these ribeyes up. So these ribeyes got great color. I'm gonna get the probe out of the way. Like I say, they're both sitting at about 120, and I can tell they are super tender. We'll get them both up. I'm gonna let these rest just for a few minutes, let the temperature kind of calm down before we get them on this screaming hot fire. That way we get an excellent crust that'll be great in the end. This Weber kettle's running almost 500 degrees. I know the grates are hot. Coals looking good. What we're gonna do is just lay these right over the top of these coals. We're gonna do the same thing with both of them. And we're just gonna keep a close eye on them. We're gonna flip them as needed. We just wanna get a perfect sear on these steaks. We're not worried about grill marks. We just want that perfect crust. I would say it's gonna take probably about a minute to minute and a half on each side. As hot as these coals are, it's gonna go quick. So it's been about 30 seconds. We're gonna look at them and see. We can always move them to a fresh spot. They got good color. Don't be scared to keep flipping them. We just want to keep a constant movement on them. Make sure we get a good crust. You can't beat that. When it's flame kissed, we'll just keep flipping them. So this one ribeye, it's got a perfect crust. I'm gonna say we're good on there. I mean, you can tell it is sizzling hot. Got an awesome crust on both sides. We're gonna get this one off and let it rest. And we're gonna get that great crust on this other one while we got a chance. You can tell it's sizzling across top and flames are touching that beef. I wish y'all could smell this. It smells awesome. Man, this last ribeye, she's ready to come up. You can tell them flames got that sizzle on it. Look at that crust. That's what I'm looking for when it comes to a ribeye. We'll let it rest. We'll get it in here. We'll prep the plate. We'll show y'all what date night's all about. So this is Friday night at Swine Life headquarters. This is date night doings. You can tell we got two beautiful bone-in ribeyes, probably 3.5 pounds a piece. We got a little bit of asparagus. We take mashed potatoes, we put them on this cutting board, and we let these steaks rest on the mashed potatoes. You'll thank me later, because that is the best mashed potato you'll ever eat. Over here on the side, I still have our butter. It's still piping hot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this butter and just drizzle over these steaks. So I got this butter drizzled over. You can't beat that presentation. If your honey don't love you for this, you ain't living right. So what I'm gonna do here is take this. You got this bone-in ribeye, got an awesome spinalis on it. That's my go-to bite. We'll see what we're working with here. Oh yeah, you can tell it's a perfect medium rare. You know I'm gonna have to go for a bite. That right there is a textbook steak. You can't beat that flavor you get from them pellet grills, give them a little bit of smoke on that reverse sear, and then we finish it off on that Weber kettle. It has a great crust. It's caramelized. That butter complements it so well. I guess for the heart doctor, we're gonna go ahead and get these potatoes. We gotta try them. Get a little bit of butter on them. That's a perfect meal. The wife knocked them potatoes out of the park. They are excellent. We got a little bit of asparagus to go along with it. This is my go-to date night. You can't beat this. That's a wrap for us today at Swine Life. I appreciate y'all checking this video out. I'm gonna have to let y'all go because it's date night doings and I'm gonna have to enjoy this meal tonight. Y'all make sure to shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram if y'all got any questions. And as always, like and subscribe to our channel and we'll see y'all next time.